Hello, just got back from my run round the block. Decided to go for a run today instead of a walk. It's raining outside, which you could say makes the run worse, but it's also a reason to run rather than walk, because then you're not out in the rain as long. Anyway, I've got David Goggins in my ear today, another very motivational bloke. I'll have a glass of water and then crack on with my workout. I'm gonna hit legs today, but first, obligatory sit-ups. Still haven't got a six-pack. I'm gonna do squats and calves, but I'm gonna do 2 sets of each straight away to save me putting the bar back down and picking it back up, and then do the second set of sit-ups. You got a bloke in your ear telling you about the first time he ran a 100-mile race and describing how it pretty much nearly killed him, doing sit-ups and squats and stuff. Don't seem so bad. Anyway, cold shower and breakfast. All right, well, breakfast was lovely. Poached eggs on toast, as usual. I've already had my supplements. I've already had my protein shake with the creatine in it, and I'm just about to have my first coffee of the day, which I'm really looking forward to. You'll be happy to know that I managed to get out of bed when my alarm went off this morning at 7:30. I did sort of go back to bed, but then sort of 30 seconds later, clicked out of it, and got up, done what I needed to do, had my glasses and glasses of water, and once I've had those glasses of water, there's a very strong chance that I am able to stay up after that. So really happy that I managed to not, go back to bed for half an hour or an hour or whatever. It is still quite late in the morning. It's taken me a while to get through my daily routine and stuff. Obviously, my girlfriend done her last night shift of the week last night, so I was chatting to her when she came in. We were discussing the patio. Now, I don't want to make this video all about the patio yet again, but I do want to send a massive thanks out to everyone that, dropped your comments below the video before last. Also, shout out to everyone who's dropped me emails, about the patio. Really appreciate all you guys giving me your advice. In fact, one of you guys, Ryan, is coming around later to give us a second opinion on the job, and we've asked the guys that are doing the job to halt the works for one day. But not going to be talking about the patio in this video. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was listening to David Goggins when I went for my run and when I was doing my workout, and he's a really, really motivational guy, and I'll go into a bit of detail about him in a minute. But what I'll say is, all these guys that I am, mentioning to you guys that are motivational, they're all available to listen to on YouTube. They all go and do podcasts with each other, and they all make their own videos as well. So anyone I mention on this channel, please do go and check them out. The great thing about podcasts is you can listen to them whilst you're going for your walk, whilst you're doing your workout, or whilst you're on the way to work. You don't really need to take time out of your day to listen to podcasts, because you don't necessarily have to watch the video. You can just listen to them. And, these people that I'm mentioning, these are the people that keep me on track. These are people that are way further along in life. And, they're not your everyday people that, you knock about with. They're not the people you might see down the pub if you like going to the pub, or, they're not normal people. They are extraordinary people, and they're living extraordinary lives. And everyone that I mention on here, I would urge you all to go and check them out. I'm sure there'll be some of them that resonate with some of you more than others, but it's all about listening to everyone, and then making your mind up who resonates with you the most. Don't listen to just what the TV tells you. But we're lucky in this day and age where we've got YouTube, where we've got the internet, and we can get a wider range of influence, and then we can make informed decisions on who we listen to, who we follow, and who we're inspired by. But yeah, David Goggins. Now, I might get some of these details wrong. I would urge you to go and listen to any podcast that he's been on or listen to his videos. But his story, he's an American guy, and he was a bit of a bodybuilder. So he was big, not unhealthy big, but he was big, and he wanted to join the Navy SEALs in America. And if I remember rightly, I think he failed a couple of times to get into the Navy SEALs, but then did get into the Navy SEALs. And again, I might be remembering this wrong, but I think the first time he sort of tried to sign up, they sort of turned him away straight away. It's like, you're too big. He was like 295 pounds, which I think is about 150 kilos. But then I remember listening to him. Part of his story is that he lost like 100 pounds or something in 3 months, which is, not the way to do things, but he managed to do that. And then I think that's when he was able to go for the training, and then maybe he failed the training once or twice. But, he became a Navy SEAL. He's a black guy, and I think he was only like the 20-odd black guy to become a Navy SEAL. It's a very low proportion of Navy SEALs, have been black people. And I think the Navy SEALs are like our SAS. It's like their elite army people, so they literally have to go through hell to get selected. So yeah, I think he got into the Navy SEALs, but then I think it might have been after he left the Navy SEALs, or later on in his story, he heard about this 135-mile race, and he wanted to do it for charity. And when he sort of called the organisers, he just assumed that it was like a stage race. So you do like a marathon here and a marathon there, and it's over a few days. And when he rang the organisers, they were like, "Oh, you need to qualify for this race. So you need to take part in a 100-mile race first to qualify." And he didn't even think it was in one go. But this 135-mile race that he wanted to enter was in one go, and he had to basically qualify by completing a 100-mile race. 100 miles in one go. I think it has to be in 24 hours. And he didn't even know that was possible, let alone like a thing that people do. But, he's a determined bloke, and he decided to enter this 24-hour, 100-mile race. It was on a racetrack, so he just literally ran and around the racetrack. And basically, he gets to mile 70, and then things start going wrong, with his body. It's quite graphic the way he describes it. Blood and whatnot running down his leg, from because he wasn't able to make it to the Portaloo, so he literally just had to urinate on himself. But it was urine and blood, and he managed to do the other 30 miles. I think he said he actually done 101 miles, so he'd done the other 31 miles, even though his body was ready to die essentially. And then at the end of that, they got him home, and I think he said it was his mum's partner at the time was a doctor, and he said you really need to get to the hospital. And apparently David Goggins was like, no, let me enjoy this pain. What I've been through, I've gone through the barrier of what's capable. Let me feel this pain. Let me embrace it. And that's what he did. And I imagine eventually he went to the hospital. But he's a savage. He's the hardest man on the planet. The things he goes through. He's done multiple 100-mile runs. They're called ultra runs, I think. He's actually done a couple of 240-mile runs. The first one he failed because of his health. And this is a thing about David Goggins. He doesn't call it failure. He just calls it the first attempt. He'll always go back and redo things that he fails. He doesn't even call it failure. But the first 240-mile race that he failed, just because of health reasons, his body just said no. He then woke up and then basically got his team and flew them back to the place. Because you have to have a team of pace runners when you're running that many miles just to keep you at the right speed. But he basically flew the team back, and although he wasn't able to cross the official finish line because, the race was over, he chose a spot So he actually ended up completing the race, but he'd done 255 miles instead of the 240. So the guy is a beast. Like, he holds or held the Guinness Book of Records for doing the most pull-ups in 24 hours. And we're talking about thousands of pull-ups. Like, and even that, he failed it like a few times. Like, when you add up how many pull-ups he's done in those attempts, it's like tens of thousands or something ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, when I go to the gym and do pull-ups, I do assisted pull-ups. And I set it to 40 pounds, or is it 40 kilos? And I think it's 40 pounds. So what that means is you're not lifting your body weight, you're lifting your body weight minus that 40 pounds. You know, it's assisted pull-ups. And I'll do like 3 sets of 10. And it's not even my full body weight. But David Goggins will keep doing them for 24 hours so that he's done thousands of them. Like, the geezer is, as I say, a beast. And, you know, when you hear him talking, he is so motivational. You know, people talk about burnout and all that, and I try and ignore that. You know, I don't believe in burnout. Like, your body will give up way before your life's at risk. It's crazy how much we can get done, how much we can endure, and how much suffering we can sustain, like, compared to what we think we can. And people like David Goggins, you know, when he's in your ear, you know, telling you about how, you know, his body basically nearly died because he tried to run 100 miles, you know, without any training and without the, you know, normal nutrition. And he's got blood running down his leg where he's had to piss himself because he couldn't make it to the Portaloo. You know, when you're doing a measly 15 reps per set of squats in your front room, you know, it don't seem as hard anymore. You know what I mean? So, you know, having these motivational people in your ear, you know, in life, like in general, you know, whether it be when you're doing things that are hard but rewarding, or whether it be just when you're driving to work, you know, having these people in your ear and getting inspired by these motivational people is the key to becoming the best person that you can. And, you know, all these people out there that are sort of extraordinary, they see it as their calling to help other people. And that's how I see it. You know, all I am is a scummy drug addict that's now finally putting in enough work to stop being a degenerate. But, you know, I feel like the only reason that this attempt is working is because this time I decided to spread the word and share my experiences and what's going on with you guys on the channel. So, yeah, check out David Goggins. I think in future, you know, I've gone on speaking about him for ages. So I think the next time I mention someone that's inspirational, for the first time, maybe I'll go into a bit more detail like I just did with David Goggins. But for now, it's about time I had my first coffee of the day, and I'm going to crack on with some work. Well, everything that I'm trying to do today seems to be happening really slow, but the time seems to be going really fast. So I feel like the day's running out. But that's how it is sometimes, and it's just another reason why it's important for me to try and get up early every single day. Now, one thing I have been doing today is getting a few bits ready to put on eBay that I've basically been hoarding for years. You know, these are things that I don't really use anymore. In the back of my mind, it's like, oh, you know, I want to keep them because maybe one day in the future I'll use them again. And then, you know, part of it is that I'm keeping these things because they've got sentimental value, because in the past they were really important to me. But yeah, these are things that I'm not using right now, and I need to get rid of some clutter and simplify my life a bit. Over here I've got some bits that I used to use when I used to write music and stuff, which at the time was keeping me off of drink and drugs for about a year, I think. But then I found that I just wasn't that interested in making music anymore. I was never that great at it. I never really released anything. But yeah, you know, for the last, well, couple of years at least, I think, I haven't used any of these bits at all. So this is the audio interface, which means you can use the keyboard as a MIDI controller. In there is just a normal microphone. And then this is like a full-on professional condenser mic with a shock mount. But another thing that I think I've decided to finally get rid of is my decks and records set up. I'm hoping that I can sell all this in one lump. Got two 1210s and a relatively good mixer. I've got this Technics stereo that I've had years and just loads and loads of records. There's more records in there, there's more records down there, there's a few more down there. And you know what, these decks and records, they do have real sentimental value, but it's all to do with my past life. And the only reason I'm keeping hold of them is because one day in the future I might fancy spinning some records. And you know, realistically, if that was to happen in the future, it would be impossible for me to sort of buy all this stuff again. But, you know, is that a reason to keep hold of something that you might not end up ever using, and something that takes up loads of space? And I've come to the conclusion that it isn't a good enough reason to hoard these bits. I literally never play records. In fact, if I'm honest, the last few times that I've played records in this room have been times where I've been indoors on my own like a loser when my girlfriend's doing night shift, getting high on cocaine. You know, I spin a few records before I end up going out for a walk, you know, around the streets. So yeah, like, apart from that, I haven't played any records for just years and years and years and years. So it's time to get rid of all these bits. Anyway, right now, me and my girlfriend are going to go to the gym. It's actually only 1:30, but because she's been on night shift all week, we want to get the gym out of the way and basically spend the day together. But that guy's coming around to look at the patio later as well, so we kind of need to get it out of the way early. So let's hit the road. I'm looking to continue with legs today, and I'm hoping to do quite a full-on session, but we don't have much time. Now, we could use that as an excuse to not do such a full-on session, or we could use that to strive us to, you know, take less time between sets and get more done in less time. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Let's see how we get on. Citron? I thought you was a Ford girl. What is this? Treason! Hi, my name's Marcus. I'm 21 years old. Recently split up with my ex-girlfriend because she was unfaithful. Drop me a DM if you're interested in getting to know me. Well, it's now a good few hours since we got back from the gym. As soon as we got back, Ryan, shout out to you if you're watching, was here to give his opinion on the patio. And yeah, he seems to think what most of you think. I'll just leave that at that. But gotta say, I'm very proud of my girlfriend for doing such a hardcore leg session in the gym today, because she's pretty much only had one night's sleep over the last 4 nights because she's been on night shift. And it just goes to show that, you know, your mind will tell you that you're too tired to go to the gym, but in reality, if you just go and go through the motions and get the blood pumping, you'll find that you're not too tired at all. You know, because my girlfriend was literally really tired because she's literally been having 1 or 2 hours sleep a night and then having to go and do a night shift the next night. So yeah, keep that in mind. It's like David Goggins said, you know, when your mind tells you that you've had enough, you're probably only at about 40% of what you're capable of. Anyway, my girlfriend is knocking us up some tasty but healthy food. Chicken, obviously, with bacon and loads of other healthy looking stuff. And rice. But, seeing as your auntie dropped off some mozzarella from Italy yesterday, we should have that for a starter. Not that healthy, but, you know, I live a very healthy life. I'm allowed a treat once in a while. Prosciutto mozzarella, which translates to ham and cheese. Right, we are now making our way to my girlfriend's parents' place with full stomachs, which is bad news because the Italians are bound to be trying to shove something down our throats when we get there. But yeah, today's been Another day that, to be honest, my mind is dominated by what's going on in the back garden. I don't want to bang on about it in these videos, but it has, you know, been taking up a lot of mental energy. But it was another day where I've eaten relatively clean, done plenty of exercising, and I've been listening to motivational people on YouTube. So yeah, just another day in the life, really. Definitely go and check out David Goggins on YouTube if you haven't already. He's definitely one of the most inspirational and motivational people on YouTube. Definitely good to listen to when you're in the gym as well, because he helps you get that extra couple of reps in every set. So tomorrow for me is Saturday, although I know today for you will be Saturday if you're watching this video on the day that it was released. But yeah, tomorrow's Saturday and I'm going to boxing, which is going to be hell, but it's also going to be really rewarding. Absolutely love going to boxing, even though it nearly kills me every session. Actually waiting for a head guard to come through the post. We ordered it a couple of weeks ago now, as it goes. And yeah, when that comes through the post, I might actually start doing sparring at my boxing classes for the first time. So yeah, it might end up killing a few of the very few brain cells that I've got left. But anyway, I'll be back with another video tomorrow. As always, do feel free to say hi in the comments and we'll have a chat. But other than that, thanks for watching.